Here's a question that seems simple. What time is it right now? You check your watch. You give an answer. Easy, right? Wrong. Because there is no right now that spans the entire universe. On Mars, right now is different from Earth's right now. In a spaceship moving at half-light speed, right now slices through reality at a completely different angle, and near a black hole, right now, barely exists at all. Einstein proved this, not theoretically, not philosophically, experimentally. With math so precise, it's been tested to 12 decimal places. So when someone asks, "What time is it right now?" the honest answer is, that question doesn't even make sense. Let's start with what you think you know. You experience time as a flow, a river, past behind you, future ahead, and you're being carried along through this thing called the present. It feels so obvious that questioning it seems absurd. Of course, time flows. You can feel it. You watch the clock tick. You see yourself aging in the mirror. You remember yesterday and you anticipate tomorrow. But here's the first crack in that story. Try to define what now actually is. Is it this second, this millisecond, this nanosecond? The moment you try to pin it down, it's already gone. The present is impossibly thin. It has no duration, no thickness. It's a mathematical point with zero width separating past from future, and yet somehow you live in it. Somehow this dimensionless instant is the only thing that feels real. Already something strange is happening, but it gets worse. Because Einstein discovered that this now, this razor-thin present moment you're experiencing, is not universal. It's not shared across space. Different observers in different places, moving at different speeds, they don't agree on what now means. Your now and their now are different slices through the structure of reality. And if now is relative, if it changes depending on who's measuring it, then time isn't what we thought it was. Not even close. Einstein used thought experiments to expose this. Simple scenarios that force you to confront the weirdness. Here's one of the most famous. Imagine you're standing on a train platform. A train passes by at tremendous speed, say half the speed of light. This is a thought experiment, so we can ignore practical problems like friction and air resistance. Just focus on the physics. On that train, there are two lamps, one at the very front of the train, one at the very back, and at a precise moment, they both flash. You're standing on the platform, watching this happen, and from your perspective, the two flashes occur at exactly the same time. Simultaneous, you see both lights flash in the same instant. Simple enough, but now consider what the person on the train sees. Light travels at a finite speed. It doesn't arrive instantly. It takes time for light to cross distance. When those two lamps flash, the person on the train is moving. They're not stationary like you. They're rushing forward toward the front lamp and away from the back lamp. So the light from the front lamp has less distance to travel to reach them, and the light from the back lamp has more distance to travel. Both light beams are traveling at the same speed, but one has a shorter journey and one has a longer journey. So the person on the train sees the front lamp flash first, then a moment later, they see the back lamp flash. For them, the flashes are not simultaneous. One happened before the other. Now here's the question that breaks everything. Who is right? You, standing on the platform, measured that the flashes happened at the same time. The person on the train measured that they happened at different times. One of you must be wrong, right? No. You're both right. Einstein's theory of relativity doesn't pick a side. It says both measurements are equally valid. Both are correct descriptions of reality. The flashes happened simultaneously in your frame of reference, and they happened at different times in the train's frame of reference. There is no cosmic judge sitting outside the universe declaring which one is the real answer. Reality doesn't have a preferred frame of reference, and this means simultaneity. The idea that two events happen at the same time is not an absolute fact. It's relative. It depends on who's observing. If simultaneity is relative, then now is relative. Your present moment, the slice of events you consider to be happening right now, is different from someone else's present moment if they're moving relative to you. Think about what this implies. Right now, as you watch this, you have a sense of what exists in this moment. Everything happening on Earth at this instant. Everything happening on the moon at this instant. Everything across the solar system, across the galaxy, across the universe. That's your now. But someone moving past Earth at high speed has a completely different now. Their present moment slices through space-time at a different angle. Events that are in your future might be in their present. Events that are in your past might still be in their present. The faster they move relative to you, the more their now differs from yours. And here's where it gets genuinely disturbing. If you start moving toward a distant galaxy, your now can tilt forward in time relative to that galaxy. Events that haven't happened yet from your original perspective suddenly become part of your present. And if you move away from that galaxy, your now tilts backward. Events that already happened for you can still be in the present for someone else. Past, present, and future are not universal. They're perspective dependent, like left and right, or up and down. They change based on how you're oriented in space-time. This leads to a conclusion that feels impossible, but follows directly from the math. All moments in time exist equally. The past didn't cease to exist. The future isn't waiting to be created. They're all there, laid out in what physicists call the block universe. Imagine a movie reel. When you watch a movie, you experience it frame by frame, moment by moment, as if the story is unfolding in time. But the whole movie already exists. The beginning, middle, and end are all equally real, all frozen on the film strip. You experience it sequentially because that's how projectors work. But the structure itself is static. The ending exists even when you're watching the beginning. Space-time is the real. Your consciousness is the projector light, moving through it, creating the illusion of flow. But nothing is actually flowing. The structure is fixed. Every moment of your life, every moment of history, every moment of the future, they're all equally real, all existing simultaneously in the four-dimensional structure of space-time. Your brain hates this. Every fiber of your intuition screams that it's wrong. The past is gone. The future hasn't happened yet. Only now is real. But that feeling, that deep conviction, is a biological hack. You evolved to survive in a world where things move slowly, where the speed of light is so fast, it might as well be infinite, where simultaneity seems absolute because the relativistic effects are too small to notice. Your ancestors never had to worry about whether two events 1,000 miles apart happened at the same time. It didn't matter. The difference was unmeasurable. So your brain built a model of reality based on that limited experience. And that model says time flows, there's a universal now, and the past and future are fundamentally different from the present. That model works for everyday life. It works for survival. But it's not accurate. At high speeds, near massive objects, across cosmic distances, the model breaks down. The cracks show. And when you do the careful experiments, when you measure time on satellites, when you send particles around accelerators at near light speed, when you observe distant stars, the results always confirm Einstein's picture, not your intuition. Time dilation is real. Satellites have to correct for it. Their clocks run faster than clocks on Earth because they're farther from Earth's gravitational field. If we didn't account for this, GPS would fail. Your phone's navigation would be off by miles. The relativistic effects are small in everyday life, but they're not zero. they're measurable, they're verified, they're as real as gravity. So when physicists say time doesn't flow, they're not being poetic. They're describing what the universe actually does when you measure it carefully. Your brain hates this. Every fiber of your intuition screams that it's wrong. The past is gone. The future hasn't happened yet. Only now is real. But that feeling, that deep conviction, is a biological hack. You evolved to survive in a world where things move slowly, where the speed of light is so fast, it might as well be infinite, where simultaneity seems absolute because the relativistic effects are too small to notice. Your ancestors never had to worry about whether two events 1,000 miles apart happened at the same time. It didn't matter. The difference was unmeasurable. So your brain built a model of reality based on that limited experience. And that model says time flows, there's a universal now, and the past and future are fundamentally different from the present. That model works for everyday life. It works for survival. But it's not accurate. At high speeds, near massive objects, across cosmic distances, the model breaks down. The cracks show. And when you do the careful experiments, when you measure time on satellites, when you send particles around accelerators at near light speed, when you observe distant stars, the results always confirm Einstein's picture, not your intuition. Time dilation is real. Satellites have to correct for it. Their clocks run faster than clocks on Earth because they're farther from Earth's gravitational field. If we didn't account for this, GPS would fail. Your phone's navigation would be off by miles. The relativistic effects are small in everyday life, but they're not zero. They're measurable, they're verified, they're as real as gravity. So when physicists say time doesn't flow, they're not being poetic. They're describing what the universe actually does when you measure it carefully.
Here's what Einstein discovered, stripped of all the math and formalism. Time is not a river carrying you forward. Time is a dimension, like space, and all moments exist within it equally. There is no universal now stretching across the cosmos. Every observer has their own present, and those presents don't line up. Past, present, and future are human categories. They describe your perspective, your location in space-time, but they don't describe the structure itself. The structure is a block. Static, unchanging, eternal. You are not moving through time. You are a four-dimensional object, a world line, stretched across space-time from birth to death. Every moment of your life exists simultaneously in that structure. The you reading this right now is just one slice of that four-dimensional object. The you from 10 years ago exists just as much. The you from 10 years in the future exists just as much. They're all real, all there, all frozen in the architecture of space-time. And the sensation of time passing, the feeling of moving from past to future, is an artifact of how consciousness works. It's how your brain processes the static structure. It reads the frames sequentially and interprets that as motion, but the motion is in your head, not in reality. This is what Einstein proved, not with philosophy, with math, with experiments, with predictions so precise they've been confirmed over and over for more than a century. You might not like this picture. It might feel cold, mechanical, unsettling. But that's the thing about physics. It doesn't care what feels right. It cares what actually happens when you measure things carefully. And when you measure time carefully, when you track particles and photons and clocks and satellites, they all tell the same story. Time is not what you think it is. It's a dimension. It's relative. It's part of a static four-dimensional structure where past, present, and future exist equally. The flow you feel is a biological illusion, a trick your brain plays to help you navigate reality. But now you know the truth. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. Every moment of your life already exists. Every decision you'll ever make is already there in the structure, not predetermined by some external force, but simply there, frozen, part of the architecture. You're not moving toward the future. You're already there. You always have been. And that, more than anything else Einstein discovered, is the idea that changes everything.